Welcome into episode 165 of The Checklist, brought to you by Secure Mac. I'm Ken Ray.
And I'm August Trometer.
Last week we told you how to stay digitally safe during holiday travel. But let's face it, the real action is in retail. Here, there be presents, and here there be bad guys. Have your clipboard ready. 10 ways to avoid Black Friday and Cyber Monday scams. We are doing another checklist on the checklist, brought to you by Secure Mac. Hey friend, how was your Thanksgiving? Was the food good? Did you enjoy the game? Are you now gearing up for a shop till you drop Black Friday in the mall, or will you be hitting the sites for a Cyber Monday spectacular? I only ask because I want to steal things from you. And of course, I don't want to steal things from you, but there are people out there who do. You can't stop them from wanting to steal stuff, but we have 10 tips that we hope will keep you safer while shopping this holiday season. Now, many of them you've heard from us before, but it doesn't hurt to be reminded. And besides, this would be an excellent episode to share with friends and family members who maybe aren't as digitally aware as you. 10 tips, as I say, though we'll divide them into two segments. The first will cover shopping, while the second will hit the things for which we shop. Mr. Trometer, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Checkbox number 1, update everything. Boy, does this sound familiar.
Well, it should. It should, because it's something we say a lot, and it bears repeating. Update your operating systems. All of your devices, your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac, everything. And this is especially important around this time of year for a few reasons. First of all, you'll probably be online more frequently than usual, which means more exposure to potential threats. And then second, since you're online more bad guys will be targeting you. Criminals know that people shop a lot this time of year, so they'll be looking to exploit every crack in security they can. The good news is that security teams at Apple, Google, Microsoft, they're usually really quick to release patches when OS vulnerabilities are found. But that's only good news for you if you're staying on top of your updates. So as I've said before, auto updates.
And who am I to argue? Checkbox number 2, scan for keyloggers. Now, before we get to scanning for keyloggers, let's make sure, please, that everybody knows what a keylogger is.
Sure. A keylogger or a keystroke logger is malware that secretly records every single key you press on your computer. Okay,
and then does what with it?
Well, it can do various things, but the worst is when it sends those keystrokes back to the bad guys. It will send passwords, login, all of that information. And around the holidays, when you enter lots of credit card information and account details, you should be especially on guard.
Okay, so that's what a keylogger is and what it might do or what it can do. How do people scan for them?
Well, your best bet is security software. Get a scanner. And we don't know any of those, do we?
We might know one or, in fairness, we might know one or two. I mean, this is the kind of thing, and this is one of the things I love about the guys from Secure Mac, honestly. What they want people to do is run good security software, run good antivirus software. And yes, they do make a product, and we'll be telling you about that later. And if you've already got another one that you're using and it scans for keyloggers, that's great. If you don't, as I say, we'll tell you about another one later. But I mean, in the meantime, you're saying security software is what you use.
Yeah, because keyloggers are really hard to detect on your own. So make sure you use reliable, regularly updated security software to scan your system for these threats and others before you begin shopping. And remember to schedule periodic scans throughout the rest of the season and the year.
How often do you run scans? Because I actually do. Look, I use MacScan from Secure Mac, and this is not an endorsement, although I do endorse them. This is not an ad, although we will run the ad later. But I mean, I run it every night at 10 p.m. because it goes in the background. It does its thing. I don't have to remember anything. How often do you actually run scans?
I run them daily as well.
Okay.
And there's nothing that makes me happier than when I see my wife's computer running a scan also.
I mean, the other thing is, if there's anything bad going on, I want to know ASAP. You and I differ on the auto update thing, and that's fine. I've got my reasons. You've got your reasons. Yours makes sense for most people. I get all of that. I don't understand why you wouldn't run a scan every day, because like how long is long enough for a bad guy to be in your system?
Right. It's like, okay, so that skunk got in the garage. How many days do I let it sit there before I remove it?
Exactly. Man, after 3 weeks, I'm not going to stand for that. Moving on down the list, checkbox number 3. This is another one that we actually talk about a lot. Get a password manager. Why is this more important this time of year?
Well, a lot of times online stores want you to sign up for new retail accounts and services. Sometimes they offer special incentives to do this. Sometimes they actually require accounts for you to be able to buy something or complete transactions.
And of course, that's a lot of new accounts, which of course means a lot of new passwords.
Exactly, which is why a password manager is so important. You're making all of these new accounts, having to come up with unique, strong passwords for each one. And if you're not, shame on you. You might be tempted to create simple passwords or reuse passwords for other accounts. And, I know that might save time, but it's super dangerous. Bad password management leaves you open to hacking and identity theft. And the last thing you need on Christmas is to find out that somebody out there is using your ID for something. Password managers make it easy to create and use complex, unique passwords for every new account, and you don't have to remember any of them. A good password manager is the single best thing you can do for personal cybersecurity. If you want to give yourself a great early Christmas present this year, make it a password manager.
Moving down the list, checkbox number 4, use one credit card. Why just one credit card?
Because that's a single point of vulnerability. And if you use just one card, it means that if that card gets hacked, you only have to worry about one card with suspicious activity on it. Also, it's definitely better to use a credit card rather than a debit card. Credit cards make chargeback and fraud claims so much easier. You just call them up and they deal with it. Debit cards, you're probably never going to get that money back. Hopefully nothing is going to go wrong with any of your online shopping, but if something does go wrong, you'll have a harder time recovering money lost to fraudulent charges on debit cards than you will a credit card company.
Checkbox number 5, think before you click.
You're probably going to get a lot of email from retailers heading from Black Friday to Cyber Monday all the way through the end of the year. Most of the deals and coupons will be legit, but you could get a few that just look legit. Hackers sending out phishing emails this time of year, hoping that you'll click on their fake links and give them information they ask for, usernames, passwords, billing info, all that kind of stuff.
Now, I'm curious, too, is this a way that you end up with malware? I mean, like keyloggers and stuff like that, or really is the big concern here just being duped?
It's both, really. You don't know where those links lead, which means you could be downloading malware. In addition, you could type all kinds of information into a web form, which could be bad for you as well. I always hover over any link in an email to see if the domain is the same as the brand supposedly sending the email, and if it's not, delete. And just pay attention to these emails. Keep an eye out for fakes.
And I'm curious, what should we look for? I mean, what are some of the signs that too good to be true email is in fact not true? What are some of the signs of a fake?
Well, honestly, the best thing to do is go to the source yourself. Just type the URL of the retailer into the URL bar on your browser. If you get an email with a great offer you want to check out, the safest thing to do is navigate to the company's website directly and look for the deal there. They're not going to just give it to only you. It's going to be plastered all over their website. So just don't click link in the email, go to the website itself.
Yeah, I was expecting you to say things like, logos that look a little bit off, or misspellings, or, things that say dear customer as opposed to dear, actual name of person. But I've never understood exactly why it is that the fake emails are just so bad. Like, why can't you just hire somebody to actually do good design work, or hire somebody who can actually, type a full sentence? But you got to figure one day they are going to do those things, and always your best bet is going to be, just like you say, go to the source. Like, even if the email looks 100% legit, even if it looks as good as it could possibly look, there's no reason not to go to Amazon yourself, or Target yourself, or wherever yourself, to make sure that the deals you're talking about are real deals.
Yeah, I don't understand the grammar thing either. That's a great clue that something's wrong, especially if it's coming from one of these large companies. They've got marketing managers whose job it is to review all of this stuff before it goes out. I know at Apple, it goes through about 7 hands before it gets sent out. So, if you see something that just looks hinky, it probably is.
I got to say, the one thing that I've always thought about with the grammar thing and the hackers is it's like the one chance they give you. Right? Look, I'm really going to mess up all this syntax, and if you go ahead and click anyway, well, that's on you. More on our shopping spree in a moment, but first a word about MacScan 3 from Secure Mac. Are you the go-to guy or gal for somebody else when it comes to Mac security? Mom, dad, grandpa, or grandma? You can't be there all the time, which means you can't keep them from downloading troublesome files or clicking on suspicious links. If they've got a Mac, then you've got support in the form of MacScan 3. MacScan 3 is a great defense against malicious software attacks aimed at your Mac. It's developed by Secure Mac, trusted names in computer security and developers of exceptional security software for over 20 years. MacScan 3 detects and removes Mac malware, catches keyloggers, removes tracking cookies, and provides full-range or targeted scanning, all without crowding up your hard drive or slowing down your machine. Tell mom and dad, friends and other family, let the Mac users in your life know about MacScan 3 from Secure Mac. There's a free 30-day trial for everyone at securemac.com/MacScan. That's MacScan 3 by Secure Mac. 30-day trials are a safe click away at securemac.com/MacScan. So, we prepared ourselves for a safe shopping experience. Now let's get to the goodies. Checkbox number 6. Buy brand name things.
Everyone likes a bargain, especially this time of year when a lot of us have a lot of people to buy for. And sometimes you can look for less expensive options, but electronics, especially phones, tablets, computers, smart TVs, for things like that, brands are important, and cheap is not the way to go. Third-party vendors will sell items that look like a major brand's products for way under what you'd expect to pay. But when it comes to, say, for example, Mac peripherals, it's hard to guarantee the safety of some third-party alternatives. At least where computers are concerned, know your brands and only shop places you trust.
Now, there are some who say that if you're a Mac user, the only place to buy your peripherals is at an Apple store. That's the only way that you will know that what you're getting is what you think you're getting. And I rankle when I hear that. That feels like you're signing up for the Apple tax. I'm curious, what is your feeling on that thought specifically? That if you're buying something for your Mac, if you're not buying it from the Apple store, you're rolling the dice.
You said Apple tax, and I know a lot of people talk about it, but honestly, for a few bucks more, wouldn't you rather be confident that you're safe instead of picking something up at Bob's Shady Computer Shack?
Well, I'm not going to stop any place that says Bob's Shady Computer Shack. That's terrible. But I mean, but I mean, talk to me about, forgive me, but places like Best Buy, places like, well, I don't guess Fry's is still a thing. I don't know actually if Fry's is still a thing, but established retailers that aren't Apple, you're saying you don't feel great about that even.
If it's an Apple branded product and you're buying it at Best Buy, that's a pretty safe bet. But if you're buying, some third party USB cable from Best Buy that you've never heard of before, just because it's cheap, we've talked about here on one of the episodes where those were being hacked. So stick with the Apple brand. And as much as I hate to admit it, like I said, the few bucks that you spend are worth it. And the return policy at Apple is darn near unbeatable too. So if you buy something that somebody doesn't need or that you don't need, you can return it and they can get something they do need.
Checkbox number 7, avoid smart closeouts. I'm putting smart in quotes here. See, this is no fun because Christmas is the time of year when smart, in quotes, smart stuff is, supposed to turn up, right? It's magic. It's wonder. Why do you hate fun is the real question, August. Why don't you want me to buy these, smart things?
Yeah, it's because I'm the Grinch.
I know.
And my heart refuses to grow 3 sizes.
I've been telling people. I'm glad I finally have you recorded saying it.
We've talked about ways to buy smart things in the past. It kind of goes back to the last point about brand names, things that are actually in Apple's made for iPhone program, things that have the HomeKit seal of approval. Those things are probably safe. That's not what we're talking about here, though. Again, when we're bargain hunting, we might be checking the clearance bin. Those can be great for clothes and toys, but they're not good places to find smart devices you can trust. Internet of Things devices are already sketchy when it comes to security. Even devices currently in production are often really vulnerable to attack. An IoT device which has been discontinued or made by a company that's gone out of business, that's a device that might never get another update or security patch. And that could lead to some really embarrassing problems like the thing just not working a few months down the road to a serious problem like a gift that can be hacked by bad guys. When it comes to smart things, stick to products that are likely to be around and regularly updated for the foreseeable future.
We live in like a weird time for gifts like that. Like I bought, just because I was curious about what they were going to do with it and I like the design as well, I bought the Disney Infinity 3.0, I think it was, for Apple TV. But I could have bought it for an Xbox or, whatever I had. And then they're like, yeah, we're done. We're done with that. So, and obviously that's a different thing because you're not talking about a smart device at that point. It's just weird to think that a thing you buy, a thing that you think, oh, well, this will be fun for a long time. If it's electronic, if it's digital, unless it's Apple or Microsoft or PlayStation, maybe. Anybody could just go away because Disney's not going away, but they looked at it and said, yeah, we're actually, we're not making nearly as much off that as we thought we were going to. So you have a lovely little plate now that is really it's not even good for being a plate. It's just useless. And I'm not bitter at all.
This is going to make me sound like a Luddite, which is kind of strange. But when I'm buying gifts for my nieces and nephews, I try and make sure that it doesn't have batteries.
Nice. And not like I want them to be disappointed on Christmas morning, so I don't include the batteries with the thing. You're saying, oh, okay, I try and
find a cool gift that doesn't, and invariably, they will always play with that one instead of the things with batteries. My other trick is buy something that's going to make a lot of noise and drive my brothers and sisters crazy.
But not with batteries, so it can't even run down. I love that idea.
Here, kid, have a drum kit.
There you go. Yeah. Here's what I say. A book is a friend forever, and a deck of cards can make you a living if you're, not too concerned about staying on the up and up.
buy them a book on gambling. Perfect.
There you go. Exactly. 21. Beating the house. All kinds of things. And a starter deck. Oh, people are going to have us over all the time. So we've been out shopping on Black Friday. We've ordered our stuff on Cyber Monday. This being Earth, there's still stuff that we have to worry about while we wait for our stuff to be delivered. Which brings us to checkbox number 8. Watch for tracking scams. Now, I'm guessing this is a lot like the great deals emails that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and boy, I hate these. Bad guys know that a lot of people will be waiting for deliveries this time of year. So instead of sending out phishing emails that look like special deals, bad guys may send out phishing emails that look like notifications from FedEx or UPS or Amazon or other big box stores claiming that there's a problem with your order. These emails will ask you to click on tracking links and ask you to enter your store account details so they can, quote, check the status of your account, when all you're really doing is giving them access to your account.
I was going to say, then you've given bad guys your username and your password, which they can either use to log in to that service or use on other sites in the hopes that you're using the same email and password combo across a number of sites.
Bingo. And the way to fight this is the same as we said with the special offer emails earlier. Just go to the source. If you get an email from Target or Amazon or Best Buy saying there's a problem with your order, don't click a link. Go to the website of that company and log in there directly, and you'll have a notice right there saying there's a problem with your order. If you didn't buy anything from there, then you definitely know it's a scam. I'm not saying ignore the emails, but you should really be skeptical. And then one other clue that we already talked about is, a lot of these emails have horrible grammatic errors. I'm not suggesting you need to be an A student in English to spot them. In fact, a kid would say, hey, that looks wrong.
Right. Or they haven't used that logo in years. That's another thing. And so much of what we have talked about and what we do talk about has to do with dealings online. Here's a tip, though, for the real world, for Meat Space. Checkbox number 9, protect your packages.
Porch pirates, the scourge of the holidays.
Sailing down a street near you.
It's not really cybersecurity there. And there are some companies such as Amazon with their Ring doorbell that try and take photos of bad guys stealing packages from your doorstep. But a great way to make sure you get those packages delivered safely is to have them delivered somewhere, safe. Amazon has their lockers. Other vendors allow you to require a signature or to have the package delivered at a specific time or even at a local store location. You can even have the package delivered to work if your work allows that. And besides, if you have it delivered to work, little Billy can't have a peek before the big day.
I'm actually a huge fan of the Amazon locker. I was skeptical at first, but first of all, they actually keep your package under lock and code. And second, other people in the house, won't see the package and, wonder what's going on.
Exactly. Every time an Amazon package gets stolen from your porch, they take a hit too. So Locker helps both them and you. And like I said, little Billy's prying eyes can't see a darn thing.
And then the last box on today's list, checkbox number 10, schedule a checkup.
Not the last box. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's the last one for now. But, the holidays are coming, August, and there'll be plenty more boxes to open.
Everything we've talked about today should help keep you safe. Being careful and following the tips we've laid out will go a long way to keeping you away from fraud, scams, identity theft, but nothing is guaranteed. Once the shopping is done, once the packages are delivered, take a few minutes, double check those accounts. And that goes back to what we were saying about using a single credit card. If you do that, then you only have to check one place. You may want to perform a credit check to make sure no one has been opening accounts in your name with stolen data. Credit bureaus are required to let you do that at least once a year for free. It can be hard to remember to make time for all this during the holiday activity. So my recommendation is to set a calendar reminder sometime in January to make sure it doesn't slip your mind.
Boy, we make the holidays sound fun, don't we?
Ho, ho, ho.
I know, it's kind of... Yeah, but it's keeping you safe. Hey, if you're looking for more security news and how-tos, the place to look is securemac.com/checklist. There you'll find notes for this show, for the last show, for all the shows we've done before, and, all the shows coming up once we're done with those too. securemac.com/checklist. If you have a question you'd like to ask or a topic you would like to hear us hit, our email address is checklist@securemac.com. That address again is checklist@securemac.com. And if you can't remember that, please do remember this. You're listening to The Checklist, brought to you by Secure Mac. And we'll talk to you next week.